When I bought the 6-spec Mitsubishi Lancer off Facebook Marketplace for $1,000, I never imagined it would turn into one of my favorite cars on the channel. From being turbocharged, stolen and recovered, blown up, and now rear-wheel drive swapped. It's crazy to see just how far this car has come. And now it looks like this. This thing has come such a long way in such a short period of time, and look at it. It looks absolutely amazing. And today is a super exciting episode because I think maybe we'll be starting this thing for the first time if everything goes to plan. Although you would have already seen the thumbnail, so you kind of know whether we're successful or not. But we have my good friend Bailey here. What's up, dude? Howdy. And as you can see, he's already hard at work. He didn't even let me start filming. Today we are wiring in a Haltech ECU into the car. A very tedious operation, but a very necessary operation. Now I would have loved to put a brand new Haltech and loom and everything in this car, but contrary to popular belief, I don't have a lot of money. This place, building all these cars, it costs money. We've really blown out the budget on this thing. I kind of set a budget around maybe $10,000, hoping that we get it done for that. We have not got it done for that. So we are installing a second-hand Haltech Platinum Sport 1000 ECU. Is it going to be good enough for us?
It's definitely going to be good. It's overkill.
There you go.
Overkill for a CE Lancer.
We have a universal wiring harness that's kind of already been used on another car. That came with this. I paid $1,000 for the whole lot. There's some relays and some fuses and stuff. I mean, you're happy enough with what I've got you?
We got everything we need and more.
There we go. I love your enthusiasm. Then we've got these Yaris coils on what would be an RB coil bracket. Of course, we don't need 6, we only need 4, but because the CA is basically a mini RB, we can actually just chop this bracket, have 4 of these Yaris coils, and I think these Yaris coils are what a lot of people use in turbo applications, correct?
They're quite good. I run them on my 33.
How much power do you make?
Oh, not much, 240.
240, but that's, I mean, I don't even think we're going to make that much in this.
Oh, that'd be good for 300 easy.
There you go. So, you know, we're in a good space. Then we have our stock CA loom. So kind of walk us through, Bailey, what we're doing, because we're not actually using the loom that we got with the Haltech.
So because this loom's already been terminated, we're going to be reusing the CA loom, which is a lot easier for us because it's all laid out. It's all a perfect length. Yeah. So basically all we're doing is off of Haltech's website, we can get a pin out for both the Sport 1000 and the CA loom here. We just cross-reference those between each other off their site, figure out what pin goes where, cut it from here, crimp a little connector onto it, slot her in the connector for the Haltech, and that's all it is.
That is that easy.
For now.
So in like an hour or so, we'll have the car fully wired up. Yeah. Now this is going to be a massive kind of 2-day process. I've also made it a little bit more difficult in the fact that I've not really prepared the car very well at all for actually first start, so I don't have the starter motor hooked up. So I've got a really big 2 days ahead of us, but it's an exciting 2 days because if this thing starts, I mean, we are on the road to the finish. We can see the light at the end of the tunnel. Building cars, it's crazy, especially when you've got a timeline. I'm hoping that we can test this thing within the next maybe month and a half, which means we've just got to keep absolutely smashing jobs out. No time like the present, let's get right to work. Building a custom loom and installing a standalone ECU is no easy task, and I'm lucky that I have people like Bailey who can help me out. While he's doing the loom, I'm tearing down the front end of our Lancer and undressing the body loom to make the necessary modifications and tidy it all up for the install. Burgers and a bit of Adam LZ, hell yeah. So as you can see, we've been hard at work. I stripped down the stock loom. The engine side loom is over here. This just literally gets completely removed and we're not using any of that, which is nice. So that just pulls out via a grommet on the firewall, and then this side is the stock loom from the car, the body loom. I had to strip it down regardless of whether we wanted to or not because it was full of oil. I don't know if you can see on camera, but it's like completely gunked up. So I'm gonna strip the whole thing down, degrease everything so it's not an absolute shit show, and then we can kind of start from scratch. But basically what we're doing is deleting everything from that loom that we don't need. And for the most part up front here, we only really need the power for the ECU and stuff, obviously, the fuse box, and the headlights and indicators, and we should be able to fairly remove everything else. Basically what we're going for is to have this car run kind of like stock, so no switch panel or anything like that. It'll literally start from the ignition barrel as normal, all the headlights will work, all the indicators will work as normal. So it's not supposed to be a full race car on the inside, it's supposed to be unsuspecting until you put your foot down and it's like, and then you're like, oh man, that's cool, and then the cops are like, yo, pull over because I'm gonna fuck you. Also, I don't know if you've noticed, but we put a dump pipe on it, and that's just because if we actually do get to start it, fingers crossed, we don't get smashed in the face with all the fuel. It's gonna go downwards at least, so. Plus, it just looks gangster. Look at that, looks good. All right, the loom is degreased and clean. That sucked to do. And we're pulling out the old engine loom, I think. Is it gonna come out?
You're gonna need some assistance.
Am I? So, I'll just keep ripping. No, it's out, it's out. You just gotta keep pulling until it comes out. So that is all gone. We're not using any of it. Goodbye. And we have our kind of old new loom. Is that what it is?
Recycled.
Recycled loom,
We care about
repinned.
the planet.
We actually care about time. We want to start this thing, so. We are still going to refresh a whole bunch of this stuff, but for now, like, this is how we're going to leave it. We're going to replace a bunch of the plugs once we get the car running and all that jazz, but
You make it work and then you make it pretty.
that's the one there. We've got 2 holes in the firewall. We'll slip that through. I'll assist. That's what I do with building this car. I don't actually build it, I just assist everyone else.
Some modification might be required here, but
For the grommet?
for the grommet.
Yeah,
but,
nice. We'll sort that out later.
Yeah, that's a later problem.
It's going to look tidy.
Yeah.
And this goes around here, in here, and that plugs in everywhere. So the loom is all sitting where it needs to sit, and as you can see, it's going to look super tidy, which is one thing that we're very much prioritizing here, is just to have this engine bay looking really nice, really tidy, so when people pop the bonnet, they're like, man, Mike did kind of a good job with that. In actual fact, Bailey did a good job. So we have our RB coils here, well, Yaris coils on an RB bracket. These look to be the right spacing. So what I'm gonna do right now is just give this a quick chop, and then hopefully it literally just slips in and should be like right for the CA. Does it go in? Ish. It fits! That's so good. Many hours have passed today. It's such like a weird job wiring a car, because you just have to take so much time like setting things up, figuring things out. So it's not a lot obviously to film for you guys because it's kind of boring to watch. At the same time, we are making progress. Bailey is currently, what are you doing?
Making a coil pack loom.
Love that. While Bailey does that, we are going to get a nice big battery and boot cable and run that through the car. And then I don't really know what we're doing after that. We're gonna start this thing in this video. Tap your heels together 3 times and say it with me. We are going to start this in this video.
Nice. Through all the holes.
I want to interrupt this video to ask a favor of you guys. So the LZ Wheel Tour is on at the moment, and the last stop of the LZ Wheel Tour is here in Melbourne. Our friends at Keep It Reet, along with the team at Drift Games, are running that event. They decide who drives, so it would mean the world to me if you could jump onto Keep It Reet. Let them know that you think we should be driving in the E36. I think we could put on a hell of a show. Of course, we'd love to have a rear-wheel drive Evo there as well. So jump onto Keep It Reet. Let them know you think we should be there. And hey, jump onto Drift Games and let them know we should be there as well. Dave Egan, super cool dude. I think if we all get together and push hard, we could potentially make this happen. Of course, it would be massive for the channel if we could drive at that event. So if you guys could help me out, it would mean the world to me. Yeah, let's go. All right, we are on to day 2. Yesterday was more of a setup day. This stuff is just so tedious, takes time. You have to do a bunch of planning with a job like this to get it right first time. Will we get it right first time? Who knows? But while I'm waiting for Bailey to arrive, we're gonna go ahead and make a couple of critical things. So this line here is our alternator line. Main power from the alternator to the fuse box. It's not quite long enough, so we're gonna remake that because we want everything to be super tidy. We need to put our ring terminal on the wire that we ran from the battery. This goes to the starter motor, and then there's a line that goes from the starter motor to the fuse box. That's like the main power side of things taken care of. Then we've got about a million other things that we need to do. It looks like we're going backwards, but we need to go backwards to go forwards, if you know what I mean. Bailey is now here, which means I'm not bored and by myself, which is nice. It's just good to have company. So I've completed our battery cable. I actually had to pull it back out and crimp it because I had to use the vise to crimp it because I don't have the right tool, but the vise worked perfectly fine. This thing is squished. So that's gonna go back in the car. Our alternator wire is done by moi. I actually did an okay job of it, so I'm pretty happy. And now you've done what?
We're wiring in the fuse block, which is going to power our injectors. It's going to power our coil packs. It's going to power the ECU, but everything.
Everything?
Everything.
And that's these wires here?
So these ones are going to power our sensors. Things like IACV it can power, coolant temp,
Nice.
IAT when Mike finally gets around to it.
That's an air intake temperature sensor for anyone who's wondering. And I'm surprised that I know that.
Yeah, so this is going to be our sensor power, and it's all just going to run through a little fuse block we have in the car.
The fuse block is
Down there
this
somewhere.
mess in
Not
here.
mounted, but it's
clearly.
in there. And that's all just through relays. It's all pretty basic. Chassis ground, 12 volt out, everything's marked and labelled. We've gone through it all. So
Yay!
all good.
And you're doubtful that we'll get anywhere near to starting it today?
Knock on fiberglass, but
I think we'll be sweet. I'm always optimistic, and I'm like, fuck it, we can just jiggy it up and like, you know, turn the key, it should be right. But Bailey likes to do things properly, which is fair.
I'm a realist.
But YouTube also like demands that you get things done faster than you probably should. So, but this thing needs to be mint as well. So let's take our time. Let's do it right. We're doing well. We're ticking along with this thing. I was gonna paint this and make it look pretty, but I'm just gonna buy a brand new one and put it in the car. And also, I'd rather spend my time actually getting this thing going. So we're gonna bolt it in as is. I gave it a quick degrease, which is all good. Then I'll put some oil in the motor, and then we're just gonna turn it over and make sure everything sounds good, not just to me, but to Bailey as well. Because I time the motor, and that means many different things. So we just want to make sure the timing sounds good and everything like that, and then we'll just keep kicking on. Please run today. So we have oil going in the car for the very first time. Midway through day 2, and Tara's here.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Better now. And she's bought us some treats. Look at this. Get yourself a missus that does this.
You
What is it,
see it?
pasta? Show us what we've got going on for lunch today. Yeah, that's what's up. Pasta, donuts, bananas, garlic bread. That's what's up. I'm kind of doing all right in life right now. Not too bad. So we are well fed, feeling good, ready to go. Mega updates coming at you guys right now. So, very big moment about to happen. But Bailey got his coil pack wiring in. Can we have a look, please?
Yes.
Lovely, look at that. You've done a good job. I'm gonna remake a new plate for the top that'll hold the coils, because I want it to be like perfectly even with this top part, so it just looks super nice, especially with the beautiful loom that he's made. Well done, my friend. But now what we're going to do is I've run all the battery cables to the boot, and we're going to hook the battery up for the first time and cross our fingers like hell that there's no smoke or anything from the wires. So we've got our battery in the boot right here. Here's the power cable hooked up. We've got our beautiful new terminals. All right, we're gonna touch the ground. You ready? 3, 2, 1. Shut up, Bailey. All right, so far so good. Nothing crazy going on up front. We're good. All right, so now we get our handy dandy screwdriver, and we're just gonna make sure that the body loom is hooked up properly to the car. So currently, already we can see a light on the dash, which is the door open. Perfect. All right, so we're just gonna turn this. First click good. Oh, there's some relays. And then you can see the dash. There's the odometer reading right there. So the dash is on. Fantastic. So everything seems to be working as it should so far. We're gonna give it one more click, and that would be starter motor. And we should hear a relay click. Hey, there we go. And that is everything working perfectly as it should. Who frickin' Ray? All right, I was kind of nervous because honestly, wiring is just such a pain in the backside, and I cannot stand wiring issues. So that's perfect for the first part. Now, Bailey's hooking up the grounds for the ECU loom, and then we're gonna power up the ECU for the first time. Make sure that the ECU that we've bought actually works. Then we'll turn the motor over for the first time. It's got oil and everything in it, so lots of firsts happening right now, but we are on the road to potentially giving this thing a crank and seeing if we can start it in the next maybe hour and a half. So not too bad. Crazy progress happening right now. All right, people, Nathan's here. Hi, Nathan.
Hi.
You always find people turn up at the end of jobs when when you're about to do the fun stuff.
Yeah, I'm the QA inspector.
Haltech, let's plug it in. I'm taking this to Bailey. We're gonna see if this thing actually works.
There's bird's nest.
Oh yeah, don't show them the bird's nest of wires that's going on down there at the moment. So you plugged it in first, and I'll go around the back here and plug our battery in, and you tell me if any smoke comes out. All right, battery going on. Ignition's not on anyway. Oh, nope, it is. I lied to you. Yeah, ignition is on currently.
Gangster, we have no power.
There's our power ringlets aren't hooked up to anything.
Yes, we need those on.
I was wondering what you were doing.
Should we maybe hook those on?
Yeah, first.
Battery off?
Okay, sweet.
Yeah, take battery off and then hook these on properly.
Yeah.
All right, so I think we should have power to the ECU now. Do you want to do the honors? Give it a switch. Boom! Lights. We didn't buy a dud ECU. Lovely. How good's that, dude? Which means now we have to rig up a very dodgy fuel setup. So if you don't like dodgy things, look away. But don't look away. I need your watch time and your attention. So please keep watching my video. Hold this.
Whoa, what's happening?
2 hands.
What's going on, brother? Oh, Jesus.
Fuel tank. So we hit a little bit of a roadblock and we've all been panicking slightly. So the ECU that we brought is actually password protected, which sounds super bad, and we all thought it was basically like the end of the night, job done, can't start the car. Turns out it's just the map, the base map, or the tune on the ECU that's password protected, because the tuner doesn't want people to know their intellectual property and you know what they've done or whatnot, which is fair enough. So we actually managed to bypass that. Well, basically you upload your own tune. It was just a little bit difficult to find out how to do that. Bit of forum searching on the internet, as you do with cars, and we've worked around that. Everything's all good to go now, so now we're testing out all the sensors. But this is our fuel setup, which I'm actually like semi-proud of. So we've got our jerry can here, whole sort of hole in the jerry can as you saw. We've got our fuel pump sitting in E85 inside here, and then far away from the setup, all the way over here, because we do not want spark anywhere near our fuel setup. We've got our battery, and we're just literally running that fuel pump off the battery. Then we've got the feed going into the fuel rail, and then the return going back into here. So essentially this is just a little fuel tank, just like you'd have in the back of your car, just way more jiggy. But it does work fine, which is awesome. So what they're doing right now is we are calibrating the TPS. All right, so an update coming at you at 10 p.m. on Sunday night, and we have been defeated by the CA motor. So the CAS, which is the cam angle sensor, which reads like how fast the engine's spinning, is not reading the accurate RPM data, and so we're not getting spark and fuel because of that. So even when we spin it with a drill at say 1000 RPM, it's reading about 30 RPM, and we've triple, quadruple checked all the wiring to the Haltech ECU, and everything seems fine. So we're thinking potentially a possible faulty CAS. I think we're about to call it a night, unfortunately, but it doesn't mean we won't start it in this video. It just means this video is going to be released a little bit later. 3 very defeated dudes. We're calling it for the night. This is cars, man. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, and tonight we kind of lost. We got a lot of work done. It'll be something simple probably, maybe, but when you get really tired and you're just working on cars, everything just seems so much harder. We'll probably go to bed tonight, wake up in the middle of the night and be like, oh, that's what it is, and come back tomorrow and smash it. Shout out to these boys, Nathan and Bailey, for all the hard work. Bye, bedtime. I'm gonna have some tacos. Bye. So I'm back in the shop with Bailey, the man on the computer. We have the CAS in the motor. It turns out it was not the CAS that was the problem. We've spent so many hours trying to figure this whole deal out, and basically what it come down to it was 2 wires were the wrong way around.
So, somewhere in the CA loom, the Nissan engineers decided that they didn't like the color green and black and green and yellow anymore, so they decided to change the home signal to the fuel pump prime on the factory pinout. So that's black and yellow.
That's what I was like. I looked at the pinout and I was like, it's saying this, which is a different thing.
Yeah.
It messed with us.
Very hard.
To the point where this is a week later from the last thing that you guys just saw in the video. Oh, I had to go away to Sydney for work as well. But regardless, like, that is absolutely bonkers. We've spent, I don't know how many hours. Probably like,
way too many.
It's crazy. But we just spun the CAS and we have spark and fuel in the right places in the right order, which is like the feeling when we figured that out. It's just crazy. So now we think we can start the motor. We've got our amazing fuel setup right here, E85. Currently, Bailey is just configuring the dwell time for the coils and the fuel map for the E85 to make sure that it's actually going to fire up. And then we're going to turn the key, and by turn the key I mean touch our starter wire to the positive, and hopefully we can hear this thing purr. All right, you're on the ignition. In case we need to turn it off, you can do it. All right, ready? I'm so scared. Here we go. Oh my Jesus. All right, I'm gonna leave you guys there so that I have free hands to do this. Take number 69. Alright, so I've been on the phone to Dr. Drift. He's given me some tips. Said that we had a couple of things not quite right. He told us to adjust the overall fuel trim. I'm still learning this stuff, so I'm actually stoked to kind of get my head around it all. I'm starting to understand it better. I think apparently the settings are right for this thing to start now, so it's been a journey. Bailey had to go home, so I'm here by myself, but let's go, fingers crossed. I'm so ready for this thing to start. I want to go home. Here we go. What? Yes! That's what's up! Our rear-wheel drive Lancer runs. That is crazy. Holy crap. Oh my God, it works. I'm literally laid on the ground in the shop because this is just the vibe right now. Like, I'm so stoked, but I'm also just like, that took so long. It was such a mission, but I've tidied up the fuel a little bit and it actually runs even better now. So we're gonna start it again because it was running kind of rough before. So we're gonna start it one more time. Enjoy the awesomeness. Of course, we've got no cooling hooked up, so we don't want to cook the motor, but we're just gonna enjoy the sounds of the CA and just the fact that our rear-wheel drive Evo is one step closer to being on the road, on the track. Crazy. How good? There we go. She runs and I am freaking invigorated. I tell you what, I've been feeling defeated all week. It was never going to be easy, but I just didn't anticipate there was going to be so many dramas with this thing, but at the same time, like, it just makes it feel that much sweeter now that we actually have it running after everything we've been through. And you know what that means? Now we can move forward and start tidying up all the loose ends and get this thing running and driving, which is just amazing. That's one of the hardest parts of the whole build right there. All the wiring, getting it running. And I'll tell you what, I'm super proud. Bailey, I cannot thank you enough. I'm gutted that you weren't here today to have the first start with me. Nonetheless, we got it running. Hit me in the comments, guys. Let me know if you want to see Bailey on the channel more. I really enjoy having his energy around. He's such a cool dude and he's very, very knowledgeable. And I'm lucky because there's no way I would have got this running without him. That's where we're going to end this video. I'm sure it's already kind of a long one. I hope you guys enjoyed the journey of getting the CA running. Do not forget, hit up Keep It Read, Drift Games, let them know that you think we should be driving at the LZ World Tour at Quarter Park in Melbourne. I'd be freaking stoked to be there. I'd be stoked if this thing was there. Let's be honest, you want to see this thing drifting, right? Thank you guys as always so much for supporting and watching. Hit that subscribe button if you aren't already subscribed because this thing is just making moves and it's going to be mental when it's actually finished. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to go sleep for 24 hours. You! Peace. Bye. Look, CA18 DET Lancer running. Rear wheel drive. Crazy. Boom.